virtuous? What if everything you've been taught about human origins is deliberately missing 90% of the picture? So Earth was never ours alone. The proof isn't in conspiracy forums. It's locked in Vatican vaults, buried in Odessa's 2,500 kilometers of catacombs, and hidden inside the DNA of children being born right now. Ancient Egypt didn't end with Tutankhamun. Sealed papyri allegedly kept beneath St. Peter's described a pharaoh bloodline that continued off-planet. Tut's coffin wasn't symbolic. It was a functioning return craft. The same text mentioned metal birds and flying boats that carried the elite away when the mission here was complete. We were kind of talking to Ricky about that too, right? In the Odessa catacombs, Soviet expeditions recovered polished titanium instruments dated 20,000 BC and skeletal remains with crystalline implants our metallurgy can't replicate even today. Those bones are scheduled for a public DNA sequencing next year. Watch what happens when the results drop. 23 years ago, a 24-year-old Lama's son vanished from Lhasa. He resurfaced in Argentina speaking fluent Spanish, carrying a U.S. passport issued before his own birth. Full genetic workup, 0 Neanderthal, 0 Denisovan, 100% unknown hominid lineage. The file known as the Latifa case gets declassified next year. Science calls 90% of our DNA junk. That same junk activates under spiritual energy fields measured in Tibetan monasteries and Sufi orders. Every single Rh negative mother giving birth to children with extra vertebra, lower body temperature, and no fear imprint is lighting up those sequences like a Christmas tree. Our colleagues proposed a new classification in 2023 that's still being suppressed. Close encounters aren't 3 kinds. There are 4. Well, there's 5. CE5. There are 4. The 4th kind is permanent removal, and every missing 411 cluster map perfectly onto zones, cluster maps perfectly onto zones where these taken individuals later reappear as adults with abilities that break physics. Interesting. Onboard medical procedures aren't abductions, they're upgrades, instant cellular regeneration, real-time DNA resequencing, implantation of crystalline memory lattices. The program that began in the 40s is now entering harvest phase. 4 bloodlines, 4 types. Type 4 is the one they fear. Those children are being born today with active telekinesis, 0 fear imprint, and the calm of somebody who already knows how the story ends because they wrote it. So here's the end of it here. The original administrators never left. They simply went dormant. The Vatican archives open in 2027. The Odessa bones go public in 2026. The Latifa file drops in 2026. Hopefully, the Knights Templar get to open their vaults next year. That would be cool to have it all happen at once. The clock is ticking. Look around. Some people that are reading this right now aren't from here. They're the bridge species. They're the return tickets, and they're already home. And this is
гипотез по поводу существования
it's not just her writing this. It's a
иных цивилизаций на Земле и
this
внеземных
Russian guy here talking about it.
Поясните поконкретнее.
Значит, исторические документы свидетельствуют о том, что
a bunch of Russians in suits here, so it's really interesting. So the original administrators is coming back to reclaim the planet. I mean, maybe that's the big thing, or maybe that's Blue Beam. They need a population that can survive the frequency shift. They're carrying the type 4 markers. They're the bridge species. Interesting, eh?
The bridge species.
So I want to go into this now. This is that big movie that just came out. People are talking about it all over the place. David Grusch and UFO disclosure. So this is Megan. It's so crazy that Megan and Tucker and all these people are talking about UFOs. Walter believes at POTUS will this is interesting. This is what Rob and Ian were arguing about in the chats there. Walter believes at POTUS will reveal the truth about UFOs. He also makes insightful comments about what disclosure would mean for society. Here's a clip. Walter's the one that's been doing those Substacks with Matt Taibbi, I think. So I'll just play like a couple seconds of this here.
Dave Grusch is a friend of mine, and he's a source, and I've known him for 3 years. I was texting him in the green room. I said, what can I tell Megan's audience? He said, the problem with the aliens is that We care a lot about them, but they don't care a lot about us. In other words, we're still exploring this universe. The gorilla was only discovered in the middle of the 19th century. It was a mythical being that they finally discovered in the jungle. They found bodies and so on. I'm convinced, and I hate to tell you this, that Dave is telling the truth, and that against great pressure and great mockery, he's trying to describe our actual world to us. It's a world in which we have not made all the discoveries yet. Now, he often compares them to mountain lions. He says, do you believe in mountain lions? Everybody would say yes, right? How many of you have actually seen one?
I have seen one
You've seen one?
in Montana.
Okay, well,
Yep. Ugly.
I
So unattractive.
am convinced that this isn't a stop, that this isn't
What?
He's lying.
She's lying or he's lying?
Seen a mountain lion.
conspiracy theorists
It was a cougar, Megan.
called Project Bluebeam, and attempt to dazzle us all with a false god that will bring us all under, slavery of some sort of world government.
See, that's the blue beam we were talking about earlier today, too.
I think
That's
that
the Jew beam.
rarely
What?
So that's the Jew beam.